Aaslle'm Aasa तशें Capuchin फ्रात भावांचें नवें प्रयत्न आनी तुमकां सर्वांक आमचे मोगाचे रेकाद. Aaslle'm Aasa तशें is a novel effort by the Capuchin friars. Today we present the third episode of our program. The topic of our discussion is from classroom environment to digital education. Will online education, online classes transform students and change the system of education? क्लासरूमाच्या वातावरणांत डिजिटल एज्युकेशन शिक्षणांत दिशेन कितल्याक फायद्याचें केदाळा कितून पर्यांत. We meet with our guest, a very simple, dynamic, affectionate religious person, Sister Dr. Jeswina AC, Congregation of Apostolic Carmel, the former principal of St. Agnes College, who taught 38 years in Karnataka, different parts of Karnataka, in educational institutions, and 28 years in St. Agnes. As a teacher, as a professor, she taught English language to PU, UG and PG students, and English literature to BA and MA students. She just retired from office this year in March 2020. It's a privilege to have you, sister, your valuable presence, and we extend a warm welcome to you to this third episode of our program, Aaslle'm Aasa तशें.
Thank you, Father, and I'm very happy to be present here this evening.
Yeah, thank you. Sister Jeswina, your retirement took place just during the period of lockdown.
Exactly.
How did you spend your time, your days of lockdown?
Well, Father, we had a golden opportunity. We came to know that there were many stranded migrant workers in the city and they had no food to eat. So the community decided that we would feed them. So some of the sisters got together to cut the vegetable, and some other sisters prepared rice and vegetable curry, and few others packed things, rice in one packet and the curry, vegetable curry in another packet. And in the afternoon, they went to 3 different places in the city, Hampankatta and Bijay and near the railway station, and distributed food for nearly 1 month for about 65 to 75 people. That was a good deed we could do during this lockdown. And when people came to know that we were helping, some from Nirmarga and Vamanjuru, they invited if we could help those migrant workers who were stranded in those places. So I took that as a college project, and we prepared. This time we got ration kits with all rice and sugar and tea powder and all the ingredients, and went to these places personally and distributed to them. About 40 families we helped. And then later on, suddenly I realized we have our 5 adopted villages. I requested the faculty members and the alumni to join us in this venture, and they were very generous to contribute. I'm very grateful to them. So with their help, I was able to help provide 500 ration kits to our adopted villages at Someshwar Panchayat. People were very happy, and thereafter again the remaining money I made use to help our own support staff, because they too needed our help. About 40 families we helped. So in this way, I felt this lockdown helped us to be kind and generous to those less privileged people. So that's why I said it was a golden opportunity God provided us to go out of ourselves and to help others. Besides, we also spend little more time in prayer, and as a community we were able to come together and relax and help one another. Otherwise, most of the time we are busy in our institutions. This helped us to come together and be together.
So along with your prayer, meditation, community life, you also expressed your solidarity with the suffering humanity. And we are also aware many of our Christian communities have joined their hands, their hearts and minds, putting together, supplying rice, medicine, hygiene kits, food to the hungry, to the poor. And that's a very good mission that we all of us have done during this lockdown period.
Yeah, it's not only us at St. Agnes, but all our convents in Mangalore. In fact, the entire congregation came forward to help these people, not only the migrant workers, even preparing masks and helping the doctors and nurses in different ways. We have helped. And not only we, as you said, the number of the Catholic institutions have been very kind and generous to help those migrant workers and those in need.
Now you have spent good many years in educational institutions. How was your experience with the students, teachers, supporting staff, office staff and parents?
Yeah, teaching has been a cup of tea for me. I love teaching, not so much administration. And we meet a number of students. The moment you build a rapport with the students, we are sure the students would in turn love to come to schools and colleges. And that has been my experience, because teaching does not limit only to intellectual knowledge, but it is for the all-round development. The students grow physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually. And this is the ambience that we create in our classrooms. Other than teaching, a number of activities are conducted, and also the sports, games, all these add to their growth.
All-round development.
Yeah, all-round development. And I still feel like, not just the college students, as you told, 28 years experience I had at St. Agnes, and previously before I came to St. Agnes, I taught in a few schools of our province, Karnataka province. And even today, some of the students are in touch with me. That is because of the, again, media. And they remember being a teacher, how they remember what I have taught them, maybe a small little kind deed, a good word that was expressed. They send me messages, we remember this, we remember that. Of course, I don't remember, but the students remember. So this is a kind of satisfaction that we have as teachers, that our students remember us with love and gratitude for the little thing that we have done. We may not remember, but they remember. When it comes to teachers, I would say teachers are the pillars of our college. If not for the teachers, we will not be able to run our institutions. Of course, we need our students, but teachers are very important and they play a vital role. And as you said, support staff, they are really the support. All the lab technicians, the office staff, librarians, all of them support us, and I greatly admire their love and loyalty to the schools and colleges. I would speak more of college because my last 28 years were in the college. So I appreciate the commitment that they have. I never felt in any time, that I was let down. Anytime, anywhere, they were there by my side, giving all the support that I needed. That is why life becomes very happy,
satisfactory,
satisfying.
Yes,
exactly.
satisfactory. Yes, and life is filled with positive experiences. Now there is a sudden change, and this change is inevitable. Now, considering the health and safety of students, because the entire world is affected by COVID-19, when the government announced the closure of all the educational establishments, what was your first thought, or what was the response or reaction of teachers?
In fact, initially, that was on 14th, the students were asked to, the college was closed for students, and 21st, the entire college for staff and everybody. Initially, we were not sure how long it would be, and therefore, we thought, okay, maybe next week and so on. But eventually, I felt maybe the teachers and definitely would have thought they did deserve a holiday, a break after long working hours. And as for me, later on I thought, if a door is closed, another window is open. So there are always opportunities for the better. So I don't have to regret like for what has happened, because immediately the actions were taken, like online teaching and different ways students were still connected to us. So I feel in spite of all this, life is going on with all the hurdles, obstacles, problems.
Yeah, can you think of a school without students in the classroom, in the ground, along the corridor making noise, moving around? Is it?
No, it's impossible, because students are our strength. Without students, schools, colleges have to be closed down. It makes no meaning. That is why I noticed even during holidays, our students come to colleges, not so much schools because parents may not allow, but our students of the college come during the holidays just to while away their time, to be in the campus. Maybe they miss the campus atmosphere, and especially they miss their friends. So they don't know what to do the whole day at home, so they come and spend. Even in the evening, they don't run home soon after the classes get over. They linger here and there because they want to be with their friends. Definitely without students, there is no beauty, there is no life, there is no glow, there isn't education.
What you said is it's true. Now the students, they like to come to school, they want to to interact, to play with their friends, to mix. How has this lockdown has affected them, students?
Yeah, that is, I feel worried about the students, I mean children being at home, because what can they do at home? At the most, maybe for some time they can study, maybe talk to their parents, have some indoor games. If they have like little space outside, they can have some outdoor activities and so on. But even then, with the fear, they may not even allow their children to go out. But they are not able to spend their time usefully. And so the ambience that is created in the school and college campus cannot be created at home. And even if they are like, they would be just 1 or 2 children, that interaction also is limited. So in the schools and colleges, lot of interaction takes place. They learn to adjust, they learn to talk to each other, they learn to give and take. There are many things other than teaching takes place just being together. That is that way I am afraid the children being just at home may be addicted to mobiles. As it is, we know in the present scenario how they love to be with the mobiles, and now all the reason when they do not know how to spend their time, they might get addicted to mobiles.
And what do parents say? Did you have any interaction with the parents?
I didn't have interaction, but the department has asked to get a feedback about getting students to school.
Yeah.
I think none of the parents, I won't say none of the, most of the parents are not for it. And I too am with the parents, because we do not want our children to expose to this pandemic, because we are not sure to what extent this is going to spread. And the health, safety, and above all the life of our children is more important. Studies can go on even if you lose one year. That is not at all a great thing. You don't lose anything, but when you lose life, when you lose health. Yeah, it is a concern for us, for teachers, for the parents, for anybody. I think I would consider the safety of the children is more important than your studies.
Yeah, as the saying goes, health is wealth. Yeah. Then what about the exams? Some exams are postponed and the students are in uncertainty. Everything is uncertain, maybe kind of anxiety in them. How can you motivate them?
I think for the primary and high school children, they are the promoted. That is being done. That was a very good thing that they have done. But 10th standard exams, I am not very sure why it could not have been cancelled. It is the decision of the department. But I am very unhappy with the PU1 paper that was hanging, that English paper. Whatever, they had the preparatory exam, they could have given that marks and just said the exam will be cancelled or exam is cancelled, as it was done in some other states. Because what has happened to some of our students without any information whether they are going to have the exam or they are going to cancel. Some of them were stranded in the hostel for more than 2 months. See, we have kept our students waiting. Waiting increases anxiety, worries and tension. I think the best way they could have done, the department could have, the government should have taken a decision to say we cancel that one exam. That was not a big deal, I feel.
Right. Now coming to our topic today, uncertainty still persists about reopening our schools and colleges in the wake of COVID-19 again. However, online e-learning, digital education, virtual classes, alternative modes of government is speaking of. Lockdown was sudden now, and we are not prepared for this lockdown. Yeah. Now, once again there is a sudden shift from classroom to e-learning. Are teachers ready?
Yeah, that's a good question, Father. See what happens. First of all, how many of our teachers are trained and how many teachers are prepared to do this online teaching? That is about the teachers. And what happens, the amount of preparation they have to go through to do this, that is on the part of the teachers. Now, when it comes to children, I would simply say no online learning for the up to 7th standard children, because you can destroy them, their abilities, their skills, just telling them it is online learning, because they are still children, and I don't think you should bombard them with this online learning. What I would suggest for these small children, to be at home. The teachers can provide them the textbooks of this next year, and the parents can guide them. Of course, not all the parents will be able to guide, but I think the children are able to at least to learn, maybe to read, to understand, to listen. All these some basic skills they can learn. And also they could be given some other activities. If the teachers just provide, these are the things that you can do, some kind of little assignment projects and so on. So up to 7th standard, we should not strain these children, because it's not good for their mind, not good for their eyes. So we should give them the freedom to enjoy life, learn through their own different ways. They will be creative enough to find ways and means to learn. Whereas from 8th to 10th standard, you could have maybe 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon without giving much strain, because I feel more and more we should make our children responsible to study on their own, at least for 1 year, because then they would appreciate what being taught in the classroom, that would be much better than this online learning, because there is a kind of rapport between the teacher and the student, and number of other things take place in the classroom. And maybe for PU and above UG, PG, you can have more hours, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, and they have a lot of knowledge, information that is available today. You just Google it, you get it, and I think they are mature enough to study on their own. They may not be able to understand everything, but once a week or something, they could have a kind of discussion with their teachers, or one-to-one, or a group discussion. They can clear their doubts. They can ask questions. So different kind of activities can be arranged other than just this online teaching.
Yeah, there are different possibilities.
There are different possibilities.
Now, now teachers, for example, are they technology savvy? Don't you think that their workload is more, because it's a sudden shift, they have to prepare, and I don't know how good technologically they are.
Yeah.
So what do you say about it?
Yeah, I do understand, because how much our teachers are prepared, but more than the question that comes to my mind is the network, especially in our country, in our state, anywhere. How many can get this net connection, be it for the teachers or the children? So, net connection is a big problem if you have to have online learning. And secondly, even for teachers, some of the teachers, like whether they have all these facilities, children, whether they have the mobiles or laptops, and if there are 2 or 3 children at home and the learning takes place, teaching takes place at the same time, will the parents able to provide 3 mobiles, the smartphones, not just mobiles, smartphones or the laptops? It's all a big question mark, because suddenly we come with the novel ideas, e-learning and so on. Fine, idea is good, but then you have to think of the preparedness and the facilities that are available, to what extent the government has given these facilities, I mean the net connection and so on. All that consider, I don't think we are successful in online learning teaching.
Yeah, there are underprivileged children,
Exactly.
there are economically poor children, and added to that, there are no facilities, especially as you said, net connection, where I don't think.
Yeah, even in the cities we don't get. You think of in the villages.
Villages,
so
it's quite, it's impossible.
And some of the parents are not literate.
Right,
See,
true.
not all the parents are, I mean, have this idea, because even when some of the students, when they come to college, the parents have no idea about the smartphone and so on. Maybe they'll use only to make calls and to send one message, but then the other usages of it, how their children use, even to guide them, they are not able to.
And these parents, both, they go to office, they go to school, they go to field, and how these children will learn online using
what
gadgets.
I felt, we should have consulted all the stakeholders when it comes to, after lockdown, taking into consideration the opinion of the management, the staff, the teachers, the parents and the children, and only then we are able to understand the problems of and come to an amicable solution, how to go about. They suddenly, everybody dictates, do this, do that, department one thing says, management says one thing, parents demand is another thing, and children blissfully will think, oh, we will not want this kind of learning teaching, I mean learning, being at home and have these classes. I don't think, if given a choice to children, they would love to
come to the,
they would prefer to come to schools and colleges, but being at home to have this online learning, I don't think they would be happy about it.
Yeah, and maybe it's a temporary phase, and if with this online learning, online classes, how would an educational institute be maintained, like salary of the teachers?
That's a thing I want to speak today, even to the parents and public, because many of them think we get government salary. Let me give an example of our own college. We have just 10 lecturers who are paid by the UGC, I mean the government, they get the government salary. But for all of us, the rest of us, the management has to pay. Now, unless you collect the fees from the students, you cannot pay the salary. And it is not just the lecturers that you pay. You have the teachers, the support staff, office staff, the lab technicians, and then the library staff, so many. And what about maintaining the buildings, the electricity, water bills, and the labs, so many things you require, be it the science labs, computer labs, and so many things. So people think, if the parents are not prepared to pay the fees, the principal, the management is not able to pay the salary of the teachers. Unless government takes a decision, we do understand parents cannot afford to pay the fees and the management is not able to pay the salary. They have to come forward and say, we are here to help you out in this dire need of yours, but I doubt the government taking even one first step. I have my own doubts. But parents always think, only about themselves, saying like, no, we are not prepared to pay the fees. I too am wondering, how will the teachers survive, and from where will the management pay? And many of them there are private schools, all the reason that they have to collect the fees, just like as we do. But of course, there could be some institutions who take like excess fees, which doesn't happen in any of our institutions, because I know how much we collect, which is not even enough just to pay the salary of it. But then we have to run our institution keeping in mind all other expenses.
From the perspective of teachers, it's worrisome in the sense they too have their family to maintain, and it will be very difficult for them, and they work so much in the school. Now this is once again added responsibility, learning new technology, new format, and teaching the students. Normal school's calendar has breaks, and holidays are allocated to students and as well as to teachers. Now with this online learning, if it continues, will they have holidays, students and teachers?
In fact, there was a suggestion, shift system. I was wondering if it is shift system, from 7 to 7 the teachers have to be in the schools and colleges. Unthinkable. And even this online is not okay, for temporary it is fine, but to continue with this, it is not possible, because they have their own strains, their struggles, and given to this limited time, they will be overburdened, overstrained. It's not a good idea, both on the part of the teachers and the students.
Yeah, online learning is not a permanent solution.
Definitely no.
Definitely no. Then what would you suggest to the government immediately?
I think we don't lose anything if you have this, if you don't have teaching, the classes for 1 year. Okay, the concern is there of the salary of the teachers. Maybe whatever the students can learn, there are two options. One is they will have to lose 1 year, okay. But if you do not want to lose that 1 year, they can learn whatever is possible, and can just test them in a very innovative, creative way at the end of the year, that is next year, 2020-21, because this is this year has already started, 2020, supposed to academic year 2020-21 in March, April. You conduct different ways, in a very creative, innovative way, some exams, and promote them so that they do not lose year. So we'll have to find such ways, how to to make everybody happy, the teachers happy, the students happy, the parents happy. Yeah, and somewhere, and somewhere the government has to listen to all these the woes, the pleas, the suggestions, the ideas, and so on.
What I think this is online learning is just to keep children busy, maybe engage these students. As you said earlier, they may not learn much, because input session that we have in the classroom is much richer. So if this is the case, just to engage students and not to have a gap, from because of 6-7 months like that, how it would continue?
Yeah, I would suggest, just as we have in schools and colleges a timetable, the parents along with their children should have a kind of timetable, maybe 1 or 2 hours, not more than 2 hours, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. If it is a full timetable of studying of the entire year, some hours of learning, and maybe a little time to play in indoor or outdoor, and then some kind of quiz debate or something they can do. Even the parents can be the teachers there, have some kind of healthy debate with the children, watch little movie with the family, and of course give little time for prayer, because that is also important to start the day with prayer. Come together for meals, because otherwise, you know, children would be in the school, parents would be at home or some in the office, and so on. So this is again a time that is provided by God himself. Of course, mistakes are ours, whatever the wrong that we have done, we can't blame God, but somehow, because for I believe in everything that happens, God has a plan for us. That is what we have to look at and see. If this is God's plan for us, somewhere we have to increase our faith in God, pray a little more, because that will strengthen our bond with one another. And I also would like to suggest to parents that teach the children little work, household chores, maybe little cleaning, sweeping, washing the clothes, little gardening. All these will help them, because in a long run our children should learn these little things, little skills to help themselves and help their parents. That would be a great blessing, even small as they are.
And which they do very seldom these days.
Exactly, parents do everything for them. As a result they won't even know. But I came to know a number of children learn cooking and so on. And also, it's not just the studies, there are other ways they can develop, other skills like music, painting, dancing. They don't have to go out. Today, you just switch on the TV, you can learn all these things. So small little things they can be engaged. So they should have, like, a timetable. At this hour, that they are going to do such things. That will really build their personality. And I'm sure some time introspection, they look back and say, oh, that was the best that year we spent with our parents with the family, and we enjoyed those days. That should be the attitude of the children and parents. I especially feel for the parents, because the parents had no much time. I understand, because they have to go for work. So this is one opportunity that is provided for the parents to spend more time with their children, maybe to show more love and understanding towards the children. Let me get back to the biggest problem that we face today, both teachers and parents, the way our children go about. That is, the children are not able to accept any failures. And how many of our children commit suicide? It's really painful.
Going to depression.
Little thing, getting to depression. We are responsible. Parents, teachers, all of us are responsible for our children's growth. And therefore, if you can make use of this time to not just to teach our children, but to be with our children and tell them what is important in life. If you can make them understand that life is very, very important, no matter what happens. You fail all through your life, nothing happens.
Be with them, support them in even at the time of their failures.
And teach them when they are very small to accept failures. Not to always compare and compete with others. That's the wrong thing that we parents do at this, parents do at home. All the time comparing with either sibling or with the neighbors, or competing with one another, very unhealthy competitions. Instead, if you appreciate, if you accept, if you admire, if you encourage, things would be much, much better for our children. But our children should not be given what they want. Give them what they need. Because when they get all what they want, then what happens? They don't get one thing immediately. The first thing that comes to their mind is suicide. Very, very unfortunate, because we have known so many people, so many children who have lost their lives, and the parents are not able to reconcile with what is happening. And therefore, right from the beginning, we need to be with our children, walk with them, stay with them, guide them.
So, Sister Jeswina, you are very clear about your position and your thinking that classroom education is the best form of education. Nothing can replace it, nothing can substitute it.
Exactly. See, when the computers came, people all thought teachers are not necessary hereafter. because computers can teach. But I don't think a computer can replace a teacher, because teaching learning is a human relationship. You know, we are not teaching to the desks and chairs and walls. There is a rapport between the teacher and student. You know, the teacher loves the child, the teacher knows the child, and teacher interacts with the child, and through the child the teacher knows the parents. And so a lot of counseling also is being done for those who really need. So it is a kind of, you know, a character building. It's a kind of growth in the life of a child. That's why I told you at the beginning, I loved teaching, because there is something, you know, formation of a child. We are building a nation through a child, and it is really a God-given gift, a blessing to us for teachers, because we prepare our children for the present, in the present, for the future.
Yeah. And this e-learning certainly a temporary.
Yeah, it is a temporary, because even this sickness,
yes,
we pray earnestly that it may be wiped out from the face of the earth, and I'm sure soon the vaccination will be available, because you can't continue in this situation for long. But at the same time, we have to think ways and means how we can go beyond, not just get, you know, remain in that fear.
Technically, sister, you are retired, but I am sure you are quite energetic and enthusiastic. I don't think you will keep quiet. Have you any future plans?
Yeah, as you said, I will not like to sit quietly. One thing I thought, like, no, I would this year, maybe a few days, I would enjoy my holidays, relax a while. But I've already started. I would like to take up sessions for the staff members, teachers, train the teachers, some amount of orientation, motivation, and English classes, because I feel if our teachers have got real basic understanding of English, and they will be able to transfer that to their children. So I'm very much interested to train teachers, so in turn they impact their children. So that is how I thought of planning my, at least once the classes, even now during the holidays I've already started, and I want to go ahead with that. And I used to train teachers even in the past, whenever it was possible. Whenever they asked me to train teachers, I would be happy, because training teachers have got greater impact than just teaching children, because that one teacher does. But if I train the teachers, they can impact many students.
So, Sister Jeswina, it was a wonderful interaction we had today. Personally, I am enriched by your sharing of your own experience, and you had been in this in the field of education, mingling with the student, thousands of students, hundreds of parents, thousands of parents, hundreds of teachers have certainly benefited by your affectionate presence and your service. And today with this interaction, I am sure the listeners, parents, students, teachers certainly will benefit from your shared experience, and certainly it will motivate them, enlighten them, and encourage them.
Thank you, Father. Thank you so much. We too, as Apostolic Carmelites, we are called Apostolic Carmelites. Carmelites, as we give first priority to prayer, because we start our day with prayer. We spend nearly 2 hours in prayer in the morning, again in the evening, because during the day we are in the schools and colleges. And our main apostolate is education. We have education institutions all over the country, and of course in Sri Lanka, because our congregation divided into provinces, and we have main 4 colleges in 4 provinces. And St. Agnes is the first women's college, all of us know, the first women's college not only of our congregation,
very
the first women's college, first women's college on the west coast of India, and the first in the entire country to run by a private management. So we have one in Calicut Providence College, one in Goa, Nuve Kamal College, and in Patna we have Patna Women's College. But we have a number of schools and PU colleges, and also technical institutions. We have orphanages. Now this year we started one home for the aged in Paldane. We have schools for differently abled children, not only here in Karnataka, in other places also. And some of our sisters also engaged in medical field, work as nurses. We had 2 doctors, they are retired nurses, and some sisters engaged in social work. So we have, other than main apostolate education, sisters are engaged in different other activities, other apostolate,
like social
other missions,
work,
yes,
yeah.
other missions. What our students at the end of the day appreciate is not just the teaching, learning, but they appreciate the importance that we have given to prayer, because in all our schools we start the day with prayer. Before every hour we start the class with prayer. When they go to other institutions, they come back and tell us, okay, what we miss is the importance that you have given us, importance given for prayer. So as much as our life is controlled and centered by prayer, we like to teach our children who come into our schools that they too become persons of prayer, because that is also our main thrust, so to say, that our children love God, remain with God, and grow in the love of God. Thank you, Father. Thank you so much for inviting me. I too enjoy sharing my little experiences with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being with us today, and God bless you.